Hey everybody, what's going on? The Cyborg kick guitar. Haven't seen this thing in a while. The glaze coating is pretty much cured on this thing. It's been sitting for a while now. I still have to glaze coat another coat on this side here, but everything else has basically gotten either 2 to 3 coats on it. I believe I got about 4 coats on the top and 4 coats on the back. But problem, I ran out of the green painter's tape, which is masking tape for automotive. So I had to start using this shit here, which this shit here sucks. All right. Is not good for using for automotive, period. You will get a lot of bleeding with this shit, and I believe it's because of the either a lacquer that you're using for your painting or whatever type of chemical you're using for your paint. This stuff will kind of you'll get bleeding underneath the tape, so not a very good idea to use this shit. Plus, I found out it's not very good using this stuff with the glaze coating as well, because when the glaze coating cures, it gets hot and it starts to run behind it. The green automotive masking tape, this shit fucking works awesome. Been using this shit for years, just ran out of it. Now what I got going on over here, as you can see, I got some lines going on over here in a few different directions. That's because of the tape peeling up as this shit started curing. Now, easy way to get rid of it. Very easy way to get rid of it. Now, when I was a kid, pay attention to what your father says, because eventually, 9 times out of 10, you're going to use some part of information that your family, father, mother, whatever, gives you later on in your life. In this case, this is one of them. When we used to work on the cars and motorcycles and shit like that in the garage, sometimes between humidity and temperature and everything else, sometimes you come up with a few problems with your finish and have to figure out easy ways of fixing them without having to do a lot of time of working on them. Same results, but just makes it a little bit quicker. Now, one of these is the razor blade trick for getting rid of runs. Now, father used to sit there and tell us that in order to get rid of a run, make it really quick, use razor blades. Why razor blades? Well, if you wet sand a run out, you're going to take forever, number one. Number two, a block, wet sanding block, is made out of rubber, kind of like a hard rubber, but it's made out of rubber. And it does flex. It does, you can bend it and it will twist. So when you have a hump on over here like this run, and you keep going over it, wet sanding it and stuff like that, you are going to start skimming off the top of the run, but at the same time, you're going to be chewing up a little bit on this on each side of the run, depending on how you're holding it. If you're holding it like on more palm side and going back and forth with it, you're going to start cutting this up more than you're going to cut this side up. So you got to be careful with how flat you are. You want to make sure you're perfectly flat. That way you're only getting rid of the run and not cutting up the sides. Otherwise, you start making a wave in a flat surface, and that's really hard to get rid of, especially depending, like if you're using a 320 grit sandpaper to get rid of your run, and then go over to a 400 grit sandpaper and so on. You want to make sure your flat surface is a flat surface when you're done. Now, this razor blade here, I use 3 of these. Each one of them has a different wrap of masking tape around them. This one has 4 wraps on it, and this is what I start off with. And basically what I'll do is I'll just keep on scraping over the run. Yes, I got a build up over here I got to take care of. And basically what that does is just, scrapes off the glaze coating. You can also do this with enamel. You can also do this with lacquer. You can also do this with polyurethane. It does not make a difference of what you've used as long as your finish is cured and nice and hard. Now this thing here has been sitting for a while, so this shit is pretty damn hard. Then I'll go to my number 2 razor blade, which is a 3 wrap. And then I'll go over that and continue on from where the 4 wrap stopped. Now these guys here, you don't hear nothing. This is just whatever I scraped over here. But you hear nothing. There's no... these guys are pretty much flush. Then I have what is called the 2-wrap, which the tape is starting to come off of it, and that you got to be careful of, because if you start seeing it peeling, you can get scraping on each side of the run as well. When I use the 2-wrap is basically my finish. Now, each thickness of each wrap that I use around the razor blade moves the razor blade up away from the surface that I'm scraping. So when I get to the 2-wrap, it's basically my finishing. This is pretty much fucking gone. It's pretty much fucking gone. You can kind of feel it a little bit on the edges, but when I go to wet sand this will feather out perfectly, and I won't have any problems with waviness. It'll flatten out really nice. So basically what I'm doing is just going over this thing. I got some runs over here I got to take care of. Again, this blue painter's tape shit fucking that you pick up at Home Depot, Menards, or whatever, that shit sucks. Maybe it works good on walls, but it doesn't work good on something like this. And also another problem it has too is when you're using, if you use it with like a lacquer, it'll also kind of start releasing around the edges, and it'll cause a problem where you have bleed through underneath the tape. So that's where I'm at with this thing right now. It's just going to be a little bit more elbow grease than I really wanted to do, but you know, it's the tape's fault, not a big deal. I can take care of this. I know what I got to do. I know how to do it, and it'll just make my life a hell of a lot easier with wet sanding. Now, another thing you want to do too is don't try to attempt this without putting tape around the sides, okay, of the razor blade, because if you go on top of the run and you say you're on an angle, this side of the razor blade will start scraping a groove in your finish. You don't want to do that. So that tape actually does a couple of different things. It raises the blade away from the material that you're scraping, and it also protects you from scraping each side of the run.